Okay, I'd like to show everybody my latest model, the Enchantress. It's what I've been working on lately. And a lot of work's gone into this, a lot of detail. As you can see, look at that base. All those tiny individual stones. Oops. All textured. She's got little toes. And look, all the buckles on her boots. Chains. And the hair was an interesting challenge. Now, of course, this is hair with curves, like I spoke about before. And it was real tricky to get it just right because you got to get everything to go in. The tops of these all have to be equal. Otherwise, she's going to look like she's had a bad hair day. It's going to be funky. It's a little tricky to get that hair with curves in. I've watched several videos of several other people do it, and they wrangle them no problem. But me, it was tricky. Like even this chain, I did this chain with curves too. And getting the chain to wrap around there just right without deforming was very difficult. What I eventually had to do was I had to convert it to an object and then go in there, go into edit mode, select each chain separately, and move them and turn them to get them just the way I wanted, which was a little bit of a pain. I wish it would have been easier, but I think it was worth it, right? And you might be asking, how's a filament printer going to do all this detail? It's not. This is meant to be a resin print, and I've already printed it, and all of this detail comes out amazing. I got to admit, resin printers are awesome. I was hesitating to get into them because of the mess and the smell and all that, but it's really not as bad as long as you take a little care and don't go slapping things around. Resin printing is awesome. Hey, come back here. And I've cut her up two different ways. One for larger resin printers and one for smaller resin printers. So the larger resin printers, I have a Saturn S, and I was able to get the entire whole figure, all the staff except for the head in one print. The whole base minus the demon skulls. All the demon skulls are separate. Right? Whoops. All the demon skulls are separate. And that also helps in printing the skulls, because printing the base with the skulls would have been a mess. You'd have supports flying everywhere. It just would not have worked out well. But printing the base like this is a dream. And printing each of these skulls by themselves is super easy. And I'll go over some how I supported this. I will go over... I'll do videos on supports. I'll do videos on modeling. I came up with an interesting technique for doing the base. As you can see here, we've got curved, square bricks that all fit in a circular pattern, right? And then I went in and textured them. I came up with a way to do that. I doubt it's anything earth-shattering or groundbreaking, but it saved me a lot of time, right? But I still had to go in there and hand texture everything. But I couldn't be happier with the way it printed. Resin printers are awesome. And what I did was all of these parts here on the staff are separate, and I printed them in a translucent blue, and then I coated them in an epoxy, so it gave it a very glass-like, translucency, but also it made the surface kind of warbly, so it's kind of a cool effect. At least I thought. And she doesn't have to be printed that way, but you can certainly. And you don't have to use blue. You can use whatever color you want. I think they have red and green, translucent as well. And I'm sure you could probably even... I've seen Uncle Jesse do some interesting things with alcohol inks and translucent. That might be interesting. In the coming days and weeks, I will do videos on the modeling. I'll show you the different parts and how I made them. I'll go over supporting for resin, because it is a little different than supporting for filament printers. It's actually surprisingly easier. It leaves very little to no marks on the actual model. Sometimes tiny little ticks, but I hear that depends upon your settings. You can actually change the settings on that so that won't even happen. So it leaves no deformation on the model, which is awesome. I'm proud to say that starting in April, she will be available on Kickstarter. There's a pre launch site up, which I'll put in the links. So I hope you'll go check her out.